Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. The concept of Varakashi for ED has been embraced by Mnangagwa and his administration and used extensively and loosely. In about, well, a few years ago, when the whole thing started, it started with a group in the social media whose number one task was to discredit all those in the social media were considered to be against the regime. And they call themselves Varakashi. And since then, the system has spread to include gold miners for ED, teachers for ED, nurses for ED. And the main problem with the concept is the name itself, Varakashi, meaning the destroyers. In a free society, why would government be employing battalions of these individuals who are not ashamed to call themselves destroyers? Because their number one task is to destroy those who are seen to be in any way critical of Mnangagwa, Varakashi for ED. Ben, welcome to the program. Hello.
To me, the first thing that comes to mind is when the president himself tasked this group to go onto social media platforms and fight whoever is speaking on democracy. So you find out that this group is more of, if you are having a they insult you. They don't have anything intelligent to say, or to defend themselves. They simply just come outright and attack and abuse. That is their task, and that is what they were mandated to do. That is my definition of Varakashi4ED.
Well, on that point, you're right. The picture I've got on the screen there is what made the headlines in the Zimbabwe press. Varakashi petition Attorney General expedite patriotic bill. They were petitioning the Attorney General to expedite this patriotic bill, which is basically saying that anyone critical of the regime is unpatriotic. And in this particular case, their main point of argument is that Zimbabwe's economic meltdown was caused by sanctions. And those who are critical of the regime are forgetting that sanctions are the main problem. So the number one focus, as far as they were concerned, was sanctions. And they were using now sanctions as a cover to silence all those who dare criticize the regime. And this is what they wanted to champion, and they were championing. But I think the idea has since spread to Varakashi4ED in other areas, including, like I said, some of the activities which are meant, although the name in itself may not suggest much, but when you are, say, for instance, the teachers for ED, those are the teachers who were promoting ED, even if the other teachers were not. In this particular case, the other teachers would be going on strike, demanding better wages, for instance. But the teachers for ED would refuse to join them to go on strike. They'll be supporting ED, help organize campaigns for ED. In other words, they are there really to promote Mnangagwa. And he embraced that very idea. And so this become the norm, where you've got these various number of individuals, groups, calling themselves nurses for ED, teachers for EDs, gold miners for ED. This has become a problem. Like I said, the main problem with this is we do not want somebody in public office to be using their office to promote himself. Public office is there to serve the public, not the individual. But in Zimbabwe, we now have a situation where the glory of Caesar has trumped the good of Rome. Public office is used for the glory of Caesar and not for the good of Rome. This is the problem, and I think that is what people should be focusing on.
You know, another talking point, is we rewind back. At one point, the president came out publicly saying that he is a constitutionalist. He is in support of a democracy. And then, on the other hand, he tasks, a group of radicals to go and disturb and fight those that are talking about democracy. This just shows that, what he says and what he is doing is a complete opposite. You cannot say that you are a Democrat, you are a constitutionalist, and at the same token, you are fighting the people that are demanding, what is rightfully theirs. At the end of the day, like you said, those that hold public office, they are accountable to the people, and people have the right to say. Now, with such a task force, you are practically, holding the people by the throat and, sending people to go and do your dirty bid and shut them up. Where is the democracy in that? Where is the abiding by the constitution on that? That is a very, very big question. What you are saying and what you are doing is the complete opposite.
Well, one of the areas of this Varakashi has been in the looting. Zimbabwe's problem of corruption was bad during Mugabe's time. But I think many people agree that it has gone into overdrive under Mnangagwa. And those behind the looting are doing it under the cover of Mnangagwa. They are looting for Mnangagwa. And in this documentary, the Al Jazeera documentary, I think that concept is explained beautifully.
Episode 1 of The Gold Mafia.
We love the gangster lifestyle. You live by the gun, you die by the gun.
The biggest challenge Zimbabwe now faces is the gold mafia.
Al Jazeera's investigative unit infiltrates the rival gangs that control Africa's gold.
As long as you grease the wheels in Africa, there's no issue.
Smuggler. That's what it is, smuggler.
All the paper trails registered. It's not like somebody can question on it.
Former members of the Gold Mafia speak exclusively to the I unit.
The gold mafia is bigger than the government, bigger than any of the authorities.
What do you think is going to happen?
They kill you, don't they?
Exactly.
Undercover journalists pose as gangsters who want to launder more than 100 million US dollars.
It is black money. The funds are substantial.
The I unit obtains thousands of confidential documents that expose how organized crime groups use gold to launder money.
You sold it to a refinery and the money got paid in the bank account. So it's very clean that way.
Once it's refined, it's practically brand new gold.
A good washing machine, right?
The money to be invested, it's not in the books in Hong Kong or China.
It is black money. The funds are substantial.
Is it 100 million? Is it 50 million? Is it 10 million? Is it 20 million? Is it
It's more than 100.
Okay.
Kamlesh Patni is one of Africa's most notorious gold dealers. He calls himself Brother Paul after founding his own church.
We try to move our money to find investment overseas.
Mr. Stanley leads the I unit's undercover team. They're posing as gangsters who need to launder dirty cash from China.
It's very important to get the right person.
Yeah.
As a starting point.
Right? Yeah.
I'm going to give it to you in a very crude way. As way of explanation, they're looking for a Hawala system.
Yes.
To get the money out.
Yeah, sure.
Johnny is posing as a black market trader, our Hawala man, who moves money across borders without using banks.
And the Hawala system is based on trust.
Trust
and connections.
Yes.
But we need advice.
Base. Infrastructure.
Yes. Yeah.
We should invest in you.
Yeah, if you
because you have all the connections.
Structure already.
if you have the trust.
Patni claims to have the trust of Africa's leaders.
Glory be to God, yeah. This is the President Mugabe.
Oh, Mugabe.
This is me. I got the award as Lifetime Africa Achievement Award. This is Uganda.
That's you.
This is me.
Patni was made a peace ambassador by the Kenyan Council of Elders.
This is the President of Kenya, Kibaki. This is the King from Ivory Coast. This is the President of South Africa at that time, Zuma. That is, of course, the AU, Africa Union chairman at that time.
Get last-minute summer flights from £30 one way.
My apologies.
You know, the Libyan president, Gaddafi.
He crowned the Libyan leader Muammar Gaddafi as the King of Kings of Africa. After Gaddafi was killed, the pastor anointed Zimbabwe's President Mugabe as the King of Kings. Mugabe was dethroned in a military coup in 2017. His successor is Emerson Mnangagwa.
Today, we are witnessing the beginning of a new and unfolding democracy for our country.
President Mnangagwa is using a UN climate change conference to attract foreign investment.
Zimbabwe is open for business.
His presidential envoy is also at the conference and agrees to meet undercover reporters.
Zimbabwe is like really open for business when we say these things. Okay.
He says he has the president's authority to make a deal with Mr. Stanley.
The name is plenipotentiary. Pleni simply means full potential, means power, so full power. That means I can sign contracts, I can sign treaties with the government without the president getting involved. And then they will be binding.
Hubert Angel is Zimbabwe's ambassador at large to Europe and the Americas. He's part of what we call the diplomatic mafia. He's also a self-proclaimed prophet. Angel leads the Good News Church, which has 15 branches around the world.
Woman with a tripped nerve.
He appears to heal the sick.
Yeah.
Well, we cannot play the whole thing here, but those who are interested in listening to it, and I think it is worth listening to, can do so. My only comment on it is to remind the people that this is probably of the Varakashi4ED groups. This is the most deadly, because these people, according to this documentary, were looting as much as 80% of Zimbabwe's gold. And in that documentary, they do mention Mnangagwa by name as the gold father. And he's using the looted wealth to pay for all these other Varakashi and sponsor them. Some of them, they don't have the designated name. Take, for instance, the judiciary. In 2023, Mnangagwa paid all the judges $400,000 US. He called it a housing loan. Just a few weeks before nomination day, everybody knew that was a bribe. These judges never applied for a housing loan, and they've never repaid it. It was a bribe. He was bribing them to help him rig the elections. They have not formed their own Varakashi judges for ED, but they may just as well have done so. This is the tragedy of Africa. This is what we are talking about here. Benjamin.
No, I have to agree with you. I mean, the essence of democracy is, for me, it comes to the people. It starts with a government by the people and for the people. Now, if you are creating an organization or group that squashes any meaningful discourse or discussion on good governance, that alone shows that you are not a democrat like you say you are. You are not a constitutionalist as you proclaim you are. And again, I will say, what you are doing and what you are saying are exact opposites. You are saying you stand for democracy. Zimbabwe is a democracy, is a functioning democracy. But on the other hand, you've created so many organizations that squash and, throttle people, out of their democratic right. It's really sad that as a country we have groups of people that are also allowed to be used to do such evil against other people. But we also have a system of leadership that, thrives and that have made it their own to squash any meaningful discussion on democracy. It's really sad.
Well, I wanted to conclude my this discussion with playing a video of Mnangagwa and his view on the media who dare criticize him.
Under my leadership, the media will continue to be our cornerstone for promoting unity, peace, social cohesion, harmony, and the love for our country. Anything besides this, Chibakera Mziso.
He said this comment soon after the arrest and detention of Blessed Janga. We had interviewed Blessed Gesa. And I think the message was very clear. Mklanga had dared to interview somebody who was critical of the regime and who was now being punished. This is a regime that believes in violence, in making sure they retain power at all costs. Varakashi means exactly what the name is saying, destroyers. And the truth of the matter is, we have now got a president, the man occupying the highest office in the land, whose only passion is to create thugs out there to keep him in power. The office of the president in Zimbabwe is now being abused for the purposes of making sure that the incumbent, Emerson Dambuzo Mnangagwa, retains power at all costs. The Al Jazeera documentary went on to explain how 80% of Zimbabwe's $2 billion gold is being smuggled. And he sits at the apex of the smuggling network. He is the one who is benefiting. And when he's smuggled, it means the state is not benefiting from the process. It's the individuals involved. And he is one of the key individuals benefiting from that smuggling. What could be more? What could speak more loudly about this idea that the glory of Caesar is now more important than the good of Rome, than the nation's assets being looted at an industrial scale for the benefit of keeping Mnangagwa in power. This is sickening. The whole idea of Varakashi4ED is the very antithesis of democracy. And every Zimbabwean should be protesting and demanding that we put an end to this madness. Because as long as people like Mnangagwa are able to fund it, to keep all these army of Varakashi, I do not see how the country is ever going to change. If you listen to history, they will tell you that the collapse of the Roman Empire started with the various leaders who started putting their own personal interests above the good of Rome. The glory of Caesar must never trump the good of Rome. If it does, that is the beginning of the end. And I think Zimbabwe, the last 45 years, we have seen a steady decline in the economy and the country being pulled into political paralysis. And all because the good of the individual in power has been more important than the good of the country, of the Commonwealth. We have got to start coming up with a system that addresses those problems. Because until we do, I honestly don't see how we can expect the country to ever recover from the economic and political mess that we are in. Thank you very much. Ben, do you want to give your closing remarks?
Yes, in closing, I would, say that this group of Varakashi is meant or was created to instill fear, to cause, commotion, and, to stop. Basically, it was commissioned to stop any democratic discussion, anything to do with asking those in public office for accountability, because that is what public office is all about, being accountable to the people, because you are employed by the people. So I would say those that say they are constitutionalists, those that say they are Democrats, where is the democracy when you are sending a gang of thugs to go and choke the living, the life out of the people that are fighting for democracy? What you are saying and what you are doing are complete opposites. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ben. And thank you very much for those who were able to join us tonight. I hope you'll be able to do it again, 7 o'clock UK time, 8 o'clock Zimbabwean time. Thank you, and have a good evening.